Hello and welcome back to Matt Hayes' Tottenham blog. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new rules that are coming into effect in the 2019-2020 Premier League season. There's a whole load of them and VAR isn't the only one that you need to know about. Now before I get started into this video, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want more content like this, and don't forget to like the video. Now, so the first big rule change that we all need to be aware of, and that I'm sure we all know of at this point, is video assisted refereeing, or VAR, will be introduced in the Premier League next season. Now this has been used a lot across the world in the last couple of years. Of course, we remember it in the 2018 World Cup, but it's been a feature in European leagues and cups, as well as the FA Cup and the League Cup in the last couple of seasons. But for the first time ever, it will be in the Premier League next season. The Premier League managers had initially voted against the introduction of this season, but a revote decided that it would actually be coming into effect this year. Now VAR has been criticised a lot in the last couple of years since it was first brought into football, but there's no doubt that it can be a fantastic addition to the sport. Now basically what it does is there's three referees in a studio away from the game who are constantly analysing different decisions that the referee makes or even doesn't make throughout the game to see if he's made any mistakes. Now there are four main categories that VAR is analysing, and they are goals, penalties, red cards and mistaken identity. So in order to stop it from making the game stop every couple of seconds for small little decisions like free kicks and stuff like that, UEFA have put it down to those four specific categories is all that VAR will be affecting during a match. Now, VAR can't overturn a decision unless the referee has made a clear and obvious error, and that is, there aren't many decisions that are clear and obvious errors, because it's all down to different interpretation of the rules, and everyone's going to have a different opinion. So while it is a really good rule, a really good thing to bring in, it's going to be really difficult to implement it to the best of its capabilities, and obviously there are people against it, and I can see why they are against it, but I look forward to seeing it in the Premier League because it's going to be a lot fairer, and like those small teams who are claiming that decisions are going against them when they're playing the big teams because the referees prefer the big teams, it's going to eliminate that from the game. And I hope it works out well, because we know it had a lot of challenges and difficulties, especially in that World Cup when people were disappointed to see it tested on such a big stage. So, I mean, there's a lot to talk about with this, so I will be making another video about this in the next few weeks. So if you do want to get that, if you just subscribe to the channel, you'll get a notification when that comes out. The second big rule that is coming into effect in the Premier League next year is one that will be very relevant to Tottenham fans, especially after that Champions League final. And that is changes in the interpretation of what is a handball and what isn't a handball. So, as I'm sure all Tottenham fans remember, that handball against Moussa Sissoko in last season's Champions League final, these new rules were supposed to come into effect on the 1st of July, but because of the Champions League, they were brought back to coming into effect next season. They are being used in the Women's World Cup this summer. So, if last season's rules were in play, that should not have been a handball against Sissoko, but in next season's rules, it was a handball. And I think that's what confused a lot of people. They weren't sure if the referee got the decision right or not. But basically, there's going to be a lot of changes to what it means for your arm to be in a natural position. And we all know a handball can't be given if the referee deems the arm to be in a natural position. So the biggest change in that is if your arm is above your shoulder. The IFAB, who are making these rules, have said that will be deemed a risky thing for a player to do, and that it'll rarely be counted as a natural position if the arm is above the shoulder. So that's going to be a big one to keep an eye out for this season. And another one is an accidental handball that scores or creates a goal will not count. So it's happened a lot. If you might remember at the start of last season, Willy Boly for Wolves scored a goal against Manchester City where he's gone in for a diving header, but he missed it and it just hit off his hand and went in past Ederson into the bottom corner. So last season, under the rules, realistically it should have stood because it was an accidental handball, so the referee couldn't, and his arm wasn't in a natural position because he was falling face first onto the ground, so obviously he's going to put his hands out to stop him. But next season that goal will be ruled out because it hit his hand, even albeit accidentally, it hit his hand and scored that goal, so it will be ruled out. Although last season it was correct that the goal stood. There's also going to be a massive change made to the rules regarding substitutions. So as it stands, when a substitution is made, a player has to leave the pitch at the halfway line where the next player is entering the pitch. Now the change that's made there is that a player will exit the pitch at the nearest point of exit to where he is. So the current rule is used to a lot of teams' advantages when they're in winning positions late in games. They send the player to the far side of the pitch before he's subbed off, so he can walk as slowly as he wants across and just waste a lot of time while a substitution is being made. Now this rule is, as the IFAB said, to counteract this time wasting. And it's a massive step towards that, because obviously no matter where a player is, he's going to have a less distance to walk to get off the pitch, which is a really good thing. in making the game a lot fairer for both teams. But I mean, teams are going to find a way around it, and they're going to do something like putting their player right in the middle of the pitch. So no matter where he goes, it's going to be the longest distance possible. So it's going to be really difficult to completely eliminate this kind of thing from the game. But this is a really good step towards reducing it, at least. And the next rule is one that I think is being underestimated in terms of how important it can be to the game and how much it can change the game, how the game is played. And that is that goal kicks and set pieces inside the box no longer have to go outside the box for play to be resumed. So as it currently stands, any set piece, including a goal kick taken inside the box, the ball is considered dead until it leaves the box, and then play can be resumed. But that's now changed, and the team in possession can pick up the ball inside the box and resume play from there. And I think this is going to massively affect how teams play, especially teams that build from the back. Like if you look at the Premier League last year, Manchester City and Liverpool, the two best teams, that's what they did. They played from the back, and that's going to massively change how they do that, and also how teams press when they're out of possession. So again, Liverpool especially and Tottenham, teams who like that really high press, and it's going to make that a lot more difficult because it may not seem like it, but that small bit of space extra that they have to cover will change how they go about that a lot more. Because usually, just they keep the three players on the edge of the box, and that short pass isn't possible, so the team has to play it long, and anyone can win possession. But that's going to change now with the defensive teams being able to keep the ball in the box and keep the possession there. And it'll be interesting to see how teams go about counteracting that and how they can maintain that high press as effectively as possible when they can't enter the box to mark the players that are picking up possession in there. Now, sticking on the topic of free kicks, there are two more big changes in this area of the game that we need to take a look at. And first of all, that is, you may have seen a lot recently, a tactic of teams when they have a free kick in and around the penalty area, is to stick a man on the end of the wall and get him to lean into the opponents or push them, which will completely disassemble the wall, and it makes gaps for the free kick taker to put the ball through and hopefully score. From next season, an attacking team won't be allowed to have a player within 1 yard of the wall if that wall has 3 or more players in it. Now, it's a bit of detail about that one, but basically what the IFAB have said is that there's no legitimate justification for putting a player in that wall. The only reason they could be there is to foul a defender, push him out of position, lean on him, foul him, basically, in the hope that the free kick can go around him and score. This is a really good rule because it's affected a lot in the last few years, free kicks, and the referees have kind of found it difficult to call a foul in positions like that because it's really hard to decide, who's pushing who. Is the defender pulling him to make it look like there's a foul? It's very difficult for referees to make decisions on it, but this is a really good way to eliminate that. And I think it's important that it's with 3 or more men in the wall, because there'll only ever be that many players in a wall if it is within shooting range. So it's not going to affect free kicks all over the pitch. It is going to be specifically in that area that this change will take effect. And another change with free kicks that's coming into effect is that if a referee wishes to book a player after a foul has been made, previously if the team took a quick free kick, it would be brought back and they'd have to retake the free kick after the player had been booked. And that was seen potentially as an advantage to the team who have fouled and who've conceded the free kick. But the change to that now is if the attacking team wishes to take a quick free kick, the referee will let the game play on, and in the next stoppage of play, he'll come back and book the offender, which is really similar to the advantage rule in that, basically the advantage is with the team who has been fouled, and there's no benefit for the team conceding the free kick basically there's no benefit for them conceding the free kick. Again, as with all of these rules, now, there are a number of other small changes that will be coming into effect this season, and a few of those are if a player scores a goal and is booked for an illegal celebration, such as taking his shirt off or entering the crowd, if that goal is then ruled out by VAR, the booking will stand. So whether or not the goal stands, if he is booked for an illegal celebration, that booking will stay and it won't be rescinded. Another one is drop balls have basically been rendered useless in the game unless the ball hits an official. So previously, a stoppage in play because of an injury or something like that, the game would be restarted by a drop ball. But with these new rules, whatever team was in possession will just regain possession and play on from there. Because I know it happened late in the League 1 or League 2 season last year when a drop ball, a team took advantage of it and went on to score a goal. And the Leeds game in the Championship as well, that happened, where eventually they let the opposition walk the ball in. So this is, again, just to eliminate problems like that and make the game a lot fairer and the restart of the game a lot smoother. And as well, if the ball is in the box when play is stopped, the keeper will resume the game from there. And the final rule is that from kickoff, whichever team won the coin toss previously decided which goal they attacked. but now they will decide which goal they will attack and which team will tip off the game. So these are small changes, but they'll all affect the game, and the IFAB hope they'll improve the game, which I think they will. So I look forward to them coming into action. It's a great addition to the game. It can only improve the game. Like, as with everything, there's going to be some teething issues when it first comes into play. You know, people not quite knowing what's going on and just basically getting used to the new rules, because that's always the way. You can't just expect someone to jump from one thing to another thing without any issues. So I think we will see that a lot in the first few months, a lot of confusion around what's going on. But hopefully the referees will be able to get used to it as quickly as possible. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are going to, have the most problems with it, because players are just going to play on until they hear the whistle. But the referees, it's going to be difficult for them to get used to, especially when you add in the fact that VAR is now being used for the first time. So referees have been under a lot of criticism for the last couple of years, and this is going to be a really challenging season for them. But all these rules are there to benefit the sport, and I do think that's what they will do. So hopefully the referees can get them into action as smoothly as possible. So that's all for this video today. I'm going to leave a few links in the description to articles about these rule changes, so if you want to get a bit more detail on them, you can do that down there. Please don't forget to like the video, and if you want more content like this and a lot of transfer talk as the transfer window goes on, please subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching.